Hi, I'm going to talk to you today about how you can organize your desktop, and I'm going to show it to you in 6 easy steps. Do you have the same problem that I have? Do you have, firstly, a messy and useless desktop which forms the backdrop to all your work? Do you also need a way to manage all those documents, spreadsheets, web pages, apps in order to run your online business efficiently? Well, I bet you do. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can do it. If you're watching this anywhere where you can subscribe to my channel, then definitely do that. And if you enjoyed the video, please drop a thumbs up for it. Now look, I would normally have at least 5 web browser windows permanently open with actually up to 20 tabs on each. I'll show you a screenshot. I need to use different apps and applications on a regular basis in order to create content to run my business, and I'm sure you're just the same. As you build up all these tools, you need to have a way to get them organized so that you can actually use them and be able to find what you need when you need it. So there has to be a better way than just having endless browsers reopening every day, and then you spend your time jumping around a browser trying to find out what you've got. So I want to help you turn your business, your management of your business, your productivity and your desktop from this into this. And it's all achievable in just 6 steps, because you absolutely have to be able to find what you need when you need it. Don't waste time faffing around trying to find that video app that you need in order to create a bit of video that you need for something else, to tie in something else. You end up, all over the place. And of course, what's more, you get distracted. You start watching something on Facebook or something, and so you suddenly find half an hour has gone by and you've lost all that time and that productivity. And so I'm going to show you how you can get around this problem. Your desktop is going to become the dashboard, the control panel, the flight deck, so that you can fly your business even higher. Let's get started. Step 1 is to clear your desktop. Okay, because we need to have a blank canvas. And I don't know how bad your desktop is. Mine isn't too bad, but it has been horrific. I've pulled a lot of stuff off it. I put a bit back actually to make this video to show you exactly where things are. And I've gone back to square one, and I'm going to build this whole system with you step by step. So start off by going to your Finder and clicking on the desktop button. Okay, select the desktop menu and you'll see all the documents and everything on the desktop. So let's go across the desktop, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm on the desktop now, and you can see the icons and things on the right hand side. And you can see that I've got 2 folders here. One is the desktop, so I can see what's on the desktop. And I've also got a folder in my documents folder now called Old Desktop. Now I can do this in one of 2 ways. I can either take a document and drag it and drop it and put it into the folder called Old Desktop, and you can see it's disappeared from the desktop itself. Or even easier, I can move all these documents by selecting them, starting to move them, hold down Command, and then release them into the other folder. And as you can see, they've now moved from there, but even more importantly, they have disappeared from the desktop. So that's the first step of clearing the desktop. In the next step, I want to remove these drives from the desktop. And the way you do this is if you go to Finder Preferences, and you see under General here, says show these items on the desktop. Hard disks, so we don't want to see those. Oh, look, that's gone. External disks, those 2 yellow ones will disappear. CDs, DBs and iPods, haven't got those, but I'm going to disconnect them anyway. And connected servers, I haven't got that, I'm going to disconnect it anyway. So that's leaving me now just with 3 applications which are located on the desktop, which we'll sort out in due course. But that has cleaned up the desktop, and if I shrink this window here, and you can see, and I close this, we've now got a desktop which is practically empty, and it's a canvas on which we can now start to paint. Now we come to step 2, and we are going to plan the structure of our dashboard that we're going to create on the desktop. So at this point, we need to do a little planning, because you and we need to create a series of categories for our documents, applications and apps, which we're going to use when we build our desktop dashboard. Now don't worry, this does not have to be perfect, and you can make changes as you go and at a later date, but you will find it easier to create your categories before you start. Let me show you some examples and share my initial list with you. Now, these are not in any particular order, and I have provided you with examples of the documents, applications and apps that fit each category, so you can see exactly where I'm coming from this. So for social, I've got LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. For social scheduling, I've got Repurpose.io, Buffer, Promo Republic, Viral Reach, Content Pilot. These are all applications I use. I have a KPIs, a Key Performance Indicator spreadsheet, which I will want to access regularly. I have, for my links, I use Zapier and I use UTM. For SEO, search engine optimization, I use Market Samurai, vidIQ, Keywords Everywhere, Google Trends, Google Search Console and Google Analytics, so I need to be able to access those. For my courses, course platforms, I have Udemy, Teachable, Skillshare. For email, I have GoDaddy, ActiveCampaign, Email Octopus and MailChimp. For my gigs, I use Fiverr. For my affiliates, some examples, Fiverr Affiliates and Amazon Associates. For my audio tools, I use Audacity and Bountcast. For my imaging, I use Visme and Spot. For video tools, I use Fleek, Videos and Easy Video Creator. For my landing pages, I use Wishpond and Attention Insight. And for my podcasting, I use Bcast, Libsyn, Apple and Spotify. These are just examples. There are more of each, but you get the idea. So I got this list of categories and we're going to use them when we come to set up our tags, which we will then assign to the items on the desktop, and you'll see in due course why we do this. But next, in our next step, we're going to look at the desktop itself and discover how we actually place our document, apps and applications on the desktop and how we can get the most out of that placement. So in step 3, we're going to show you how to master your desktop. Now, the first thing we need to do is understand that we are going to create shortcuts, also called aliases in the Mac world, to place our items on the desktop. This is very easy to do, and I'm going to show you 2 ways to do it. Firstly, if you go into your Finder and go to Applications, you can select the application you want to create the shortcut or alias for. You then hold down Control and click on your mouse pad on the application, and a drop-down menu appears from which you select Make Alias. The alias itself will then appear below the application, and it'll have a little arrow in the bottom corner showing it's an alias. Let me show you exactly how to do this. So here we are in the desktop, and I want to make an alias for this Dropbox application. So I've selected Dropbox, I've held down Control and click, and you can see down here I get an option, Make Alias. If I click on that, it's created Dropbox alias, and you can see in the little corner here there's an arrow. Now all I have to do is to drag and select, and I've put this alias onto my desktop. And that's what we're going to do in order to create these links to all these applications. Now, there's more work to be done on this, but that is the initial step. Now that you understand what an alias is and how to create it, because it is important you understand we are creating these shortcuts, let me show you a very easy way to create all these aliases that we're going to need. And all you have to do is to drag and drop the application you want to the desktop, and it automatically creates the alias or the shortcut for you, and it's as simple as that. Let me show you exactly how to do this. So in the last step we created an alias for Dropbox, but let's say I want to create an alias for my Ecamm Live application. I simply select the Ecamm Live application, drag it to the Dropbox, and you can see it's appeared on the desktop, and it has a little arrow in the corner, so it's an alias. It's not actually an application installed on the desktop, and that's the critical difference. The next step to mastering the desktop is to take a look at the desktop view options, and these are going to be quite helpful. Go into your desktop menu, and in the view menu select show view options, and the box that you see on the right will appear. You can also hold down the Command J, and it'll also create this box that you can take a look at. Now, as you can see at the top, we can use things called stacks. And if you stack by type, basically what it does is on the desktop, it will aggregate all the different icons together, which we'll see later on. We'll use our tags to do this because it'll help us to tidy up the desktop. We can also sort the items on a range of criteria, things like kind, name, dates created, that sort of thing. So you need to be aware that there's a sort possibility, and also when you sort, you can snap to grid, which means that if the icons are all laid out in a sort of organic fashion, it will snap them in. And of course, if you unsnap this, it will go back to where it was. It remembers how it was set up. We can change the icon size and spacing. We can also change the text size and the position of the label, either on the bottom or on the right. There are also a couple of options to show item info and to show the icon preview, but we don't need to worry about these in this particular exercise. So in step 4, moving on, I'm going to show you what tags are and how we're going to get the most out of those in creating our dashboard. Tags are particularly helpful, and we are going to use them because they allow us to classify the icons very easily. And this means that we can then manipulate them and use them on the desktop, and it becomes a useful means of controlling how we can find things and how we can lay things out. So to take a look at tags, you need to go into your Finder Preferences window, and you'll see there's an option that says tags, and up pops this little box. And we can assign colors and descriptive names to the tags. This image shows the default that I've got set up. I'm actually now going to go in and change some of them to some of the categories and delete some that I don't need, but I'm going to keep the colors for the time being. So I've got my tags window open here, and I don't particularly want this work one, so I'm going to delete it, and it asks me to confirm, so I delete tag. I'm going to delete home. I'm going to delete important, but I want to add another one, and I'm going to call it social media. See how easy it is to do. And if I add another one, I can call it let's call it gigs, which will be where I have my Fiverr gig set up. And then for another one, I might want to have all my email related icons tagged with that. See, email's already taken. Oh, here we go. Am I not seeing something? Yes, email is there and revenue's there. So I need to change this to something else. Let's call it video tools. So I'm now going to pause the recording, and I'm going to set up the tags that I explained to you earlier on in the video. So now you can see I've created a whole series of additional tags which we're going to use when we create our dashboard. Now we can turn our attention to step 5, where we're actually going to create our dashboard, our cockpit if you like, for flying our business. Now for each alias we're going to use a naming convention. I'm going to take the name of the application or the app or whatever it happens to be, plus a short functional description after it, just to help me remember what it is, which will then, when you're looking at the dashboard, make it easier to select what you're looking for. I'm also going to make sure there is an appropriate tag attached to each shortcut. Now, to assign a tag to a shortcut or an alias is very simple. You control-click on the alias, and at the bottom of the menu that appears, you simply select the tag that you want, and you assign it to the alias. And if necessary, you create a new one. But I would encourage you to keep your category structure reasonably tight. Now, I'm going to work through my open browsers, and I'm going to create web browsers, and I'm going to create an alias from the browser page, and all you do there is you select the URL and drag it across to the desktop. I'm also going to go through my dock applications and create aliases for those, and remove then the ones that I've got aliases from the dock. Then I'm going to go through my applications in Finder and create aliases for select applications there, the ones I use the most often. So for each alias, just to reiterate, I'm going to name it with the application name and a brief description and the appropriate tag. And when this is done, I'm going to show you the results. So now we can move on to step 6, which is all about managing your dashboard. The initial dashboard has now been created, and I wanted to share it with you to show you how you can get the most out of it. So this is what my dashboard looks like, which from a distance looks a little bit complicated. But what I have done is I've organically grouped together the different icons into similar groups. So I've got all my niche WordPress sites together. I've got my social media accounts together, that sort of thing. Don't worry about the icons, because the weblog, they're just the web addresses for the various pages which take me to the online applications. And you can see it's all very organic. However, the power of what you've done will become apparent in a minute. It's very easy to just using the Finder view to sort them by name, which makes an individual application very easy to sort. So it starts with the lowest at the top right hand corner and then goes down to the Y's on the left. But if you use the stacking application, which I've talked about earlier, you'll see they group into small groups, and this tidies up the page enormously. But if you click on a group, they split out and you can find the application you're looking for. So this makes it even easier to manage. Of course, if you go into Finder and you look at the desktop folder in Finder, this is all replicated. So you can group your applications and your apps and your documents and things by your tags, and you'll have them all easily accessible and easily findable in your Finder and in your desktop. And of course, you can take it one step further. If you prefer to completely clear your desktop, and I know some of you do, then simply copy all the aliases from Desktop Finder into a new folder in Documents, let's call it Computer Dashboard, and then just delete the desktop aliases, and that will clear your desktop completely. Of course, once you create a new one, the easiest thing to do is to create it on the desktop as we've shown, then bring it into your Finder desktop folder, copy it across to the other one, and then delete it from the desktop folder. So it becomes a very easy system to maintain, but you then get all your content very easily accessible, either directly from the desktop, or you can go and find it in your Finder. But you now have a sortable and tagged dashboard which you can run from Finder or on your desktop, and it is so much easier to find the documents, the applications and the apps that you want to use whenever you want to use them. So I really hope you found this whole little tutorial helpful. I've been planning it for a number of days because this whole thing's been driving me absolutely nuts, and I wanted to find a way that I could manage my business, and this is what I've come up with. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it. Make sure you don't miss out on any new content, and give the video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. So that's it, how to organize your desktop in 6 easy steps. I hope you found the detail of this step-by-step completely comprehensible and easy to understand, and I very much look forward to seeing you again in another video.